Alright guys, Jameson and Alex here. Today we're going to be talking about the Beastborne Ranger Subclass.
Yes. Not Bloodborne,
Beastborne.
Yes.
From Valda's Spire of Secrets.
Yes.
So if you're new to the channel, what we're going to do is go through all of the abilities gained in the subclass. And we're going to rate it based on its roleplay value, combat value, and overall class synergy based on how the abilities gained in the subclass improve on the base class abilities.
That's correct.
Also have a giveaway for D&D Beyond Players Bundle.
Yes.
Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe to be entered in that. Thanks again to our sponsors, Hit Point Press. Make sure you check out their Big Bads, their animated spell cards, their Humblewood bundles, all the awesome stuff they got coming. They're always bringing out new stuff. Make sure you keep checking them out. I'll be putting up on screen whatever their current thing is going.
Yes.
Just make sure you check them out, guys. Helps us out, helps them out. But yeah, let's just jump straight into this subclass.
If you can't tell by the title of Beastborne the way we're going with this, come on, figure it out. We're starting off with Shape Changer. The beginning, when you choose this archetype at 3rd level, your body is sustained by a lycanthropic curse. Again, are we surprised?
There you go.
Which struggles to escape from you at all times. You gain the Shape Changer subtype. Your true form is a ghastly hybrid of beast and man. And additionally, you gain the following abilities. Dark Vision, up to a range of 60 feet. If you already had it from your range, the range increases by 30 feet to then 90 feet, which is awesome. And then if you have Keen Smell, so advantage on Wisdom perception checks that rely on smell.
There you go.
Also, as part of this, you start off with Bestial Aspect. You gradually lose control and slip into a beast-like form, ravenous and hungry for carnage. Whenever you take damage or deal damage to a hostile creature with an attack, add the total number together. This is your damage pool, which is the whole thing this is built around.
Yes.
You gain a bonus to your damage rolls as well as additional beast-like abilities according to your total damage pool as shown on the Bestial Aspect table. After 1 minute of taking and dealing no damage, you reset the damage pool to 0.
So yeah, essentially what you're doing here is you're going into a rage because it's going to function like a rage. You're going to get bonuses. Yeah. And the way it's kind of worded a little weird when it says you take the damage that you deal and are that you deal and are hit with and add them together. You're just keeping track of the damage that you take and the damage you deal into one.
To one calculation over here.
So looking at the actual table on here, the damage pool, if you achieve 10 damage, which is either, again, taken or given.
Yes.
Or combined, taken and given.
Yes, not or. Yeah,
and.
Yeah.
Sorry.
That's and. Not an and or situation.
Words today.
Combined. Plus sign.
A damage bonus of +2, similar to rage. When you rage, you get a little bonus to your damage. You sprout a set of vicious claws, which are natural weapons that you can make unarmed strikes. If you hit, you deal slashing damage equal to 1d6 plus your strength modifier instead of bludgeoning damage normal from an unarmed strike. Your claws count as magical for overcoming resistances and immunity to non-magical attacks and damage. Mm-hmm. So a little buff there, and as you can see, it's going to be focused on strength. So you probably want to build Strength Ranger here, as you'll see here in a second. At 20 damage, it increases your resistances to bludgeoning, piercing, and slashing from non-magical attacks that aren't silver.
I wonder what that is.
Essentially, again, rage, you're getting that BPS resistance. It's still at the +2 damage on there.
Yep.
At 30, your walking speed increases by 10 feet. At 40 damage, you also gain blind sight within a range of 10 feet, and the damage increases to +3.
Yep.
At 50 damage, you gain a climbing speed equal to your walking speed. At 70 damage, your walking speed increases by an additional 10 feet, up to 20. And then at 100 damage, your claws deal an extra 1d6 slashing damage on hit.
Yes.
So there you go. And you might be thinking, 100 damage? It's not much. Trust me.
Because again, I emphasize, it's the damage you're dealing totaled with any damage you're taking. So I mean, if you deal 15 damage this turn, then you get hit by 2 arrows, you're already at 25 or 20 plus.
Within a couple rounds of combat, you'll be maxed out. And there's some ways to help you out here, which we'll get to.
Which we will get to. At level 7, we have Wolfbane Fury. Oh, looky there. As a bonus action, you can roll 4d6 and add the total to your damage pool. Once you use this, you can't use it until you finish a short or long rest. So every short rest, right as combat starting, first turn, bonus action, we're going to roll some dice.
Yeah. And on average, it's going to be 14. So you're going to get your claws, and then after you attack with those claws,
the first time you're going to get your BPS. Yeah. As soon as you get one hit in there, you'll be BPS. At 11, we have Howling Carnage. Whenever your damage pool exceeds 50, which you can get there pretty quick, especially since you can now roll 4d6 to get there faster, You attack 3 times with your claws instead of twice when you take the attack action on your turn.
There you go. So you're going to get there even faster.
You're gonna get there even
first
faster.
50, you'll get there. Second 50 is coming in a hurry.
Real quick. And finally, we have Relentless Bloodlust at 15. When you are reduced to 0 hit points and aren't killed outright, you can choose to drop to 1 hit point instead. Add the total damage you would have taken to your damage pool. Once you use this ability, you can't finish again until you finish a long rest.
Yeah. So basically, it's just any of the excess damage. So if you're at like 5 HP and you take 20 damage, you're still going to add 20 damage to your pool, even though you're only taking 4. I guess technically, because go from 5 to 1. Mm-hmm. So that's all it is. It's kind of a weird way to say that. But yeah, those are all the abilities gained. Pretty straightforward. You get your Barbarian. Subclass is Ranger. That's kind of my joke for this.
Yeah, pretty much.
You're more Barbarian than subclasses is a Ranger. So yeah, roleplay value is the first rating on here. Asterisk, as always. Talking about roleplay value, talking about interacting with the world around you, interacting with NPCs, non-combat scenarios, avoiding combat, basically things outside of the initiative order.
That's right.
Not talking about class fantasy, history, lore, background that's on you as a player. Can't rate you, but we can't rate these abilities gained in the subclass and how they improve your potential in those role play scenarios. So
it's almost like he said that a couple times. I'm reading it right off the shirt. Watch him just go.
All that being said, looking at the actual abilities on here, you get dark vision, you get keen smell, which is nice.
Yes.
But it's really not all of that much. It is nice that they do give you extended dark vision if you already have it. So you don't just have a worthless ability.
Yep.
So that is what it is. But really, everything else is tied very much into your bestial aspect, which is going to be combat focused, because if you don't take or receive damage for a minute,
so it's giving you extra walking speed and climbing speed, but as soon as you get outside of combat, that goes away. I would like for them to have given you some ability later on that lets you keep like 10 of that walking speed and maybe the climbing speed out of combat at a certain level, just to kind of help your...
And maybe your DM will let you like hurt yourself, because you're not a barbarian, and that can be a big old deal with barbarians, with not being able to do that or whatever. Yeah. So with this, you don't have Relentless Rage, so there's maybe some gray area. And again, this is unofficial technically, so work with your DMs. If you're going to play with this, they're probably a little bit more lenient anyway. Yep. So yeah, definitely not a whole lot in the roleplay department. Nope. So we just went with a 1.5 in the roleplay.
That's right. On to the combat side of things. Those things get very interesting. And when we first went through our pass of this book, trying to do, one of each subclass, trying to find the most interesting things, maybe at least the ones that I found the most interesting to start off with, that stuck out as unique and interesting. And here's how we got to this one. The combat things, it definitely focuses more that way. I mean, you're a shape-changing, lycanthropic creature. But in the bestial aspect, you're leaning more towards strength, which creates for interesting ranger build, not traditional how you would think of a ranger. But as soon as you start doing damage and or taking damage, you've got natural weapons that deal 1d6 plus your strength. It doesn't sound like a ton of damage, but as you scale up, you're going to get to attack twice with those. And eventually, once you get to that 100 damage mark, which will come a lot easier once you hit 7 and 11, when you get to hit a third time a turn with your claws instead of that. And when you hit 100, those claws are doing an extra d6. So it kind of fills in the flavor very well, because the more you're attacking, the more like the
like frenzied.
The frenzied, like the kind of the bloodlust stuff kind of sinks in. The more effective you get, the longer you're in combat, which is kind of a very cool thing. Yeah. And flavor-wise. Mechanically, you run into some issues of, you get to 20 at least, which you can do relatively easily. Yeah. With your ability at 7, letting you roll the 4d6 every short rest, and not just every day. Right. As a bonus action, so you can start your turn by bonus action rolling those dice. And at 50, getting that extra 50 damage pool on your pool, getting the extra attack. You've got some ways to get up there quickly, but once you get past 20, you really have to get all the way to 100 to get anything outside of combat utility. Because all you're getting between 20 and 100 is movement speed, blind sight, which is only out to 10 feet, climbing speed, and an additional 10 feet of movement speed. Right. Which especially the movement speed is good, because you're trying to melee claw stuff and you kill something. We'll make sure you can get to something else. You get something trying to run away from you, because it's like, what is this frenzied creature coming after me? You want to be able to outrun stuff and keep up with stuff, which is good. Yeah. But there's not a whole lot between 20 and 50 aside from just some utility. Right. And even though it does scale up, you're dealing 2d6 with your claw attack, which you can normally do with a martial weapon anyway.
Right.
But once you get 100 damage, you get once you hit a level 11, you get the third attack.
Yes.
So that's really the only extra bump you're getting. So there's some numbers things that keep it hindered the most, and the way the damage scales, you get a nice up front with that melee attack and the damage resistance, but you're not getting much else besides some utility until you hit 100, and that's pretty much it. And yes, you have the 1 time per day you can keep yourself up from not dying.
Right.
A lot of limitations, though, really. So we gave it a 3.5 out of a possible 5 on the combat side of things.
And kind of as a transition from combat to synergy, I'll just kind of take this as a side note for combat as well. With the synergy on it, you are a ranger.
Yes.
So you're a half-caster,
yes.
which gives you some interesting options that if you just were a barbarian, for example, you wouldn't be able to do.
Correct.
Because essentially this is just a pseudo-barbarian.
It really is.
Right. So it gives you options that barbarians wouldn't have, but it also is lacking things barbarians have. So you're not getting armor defense, but you're getting, some armor proficiencies, so to speak.
You do you have access to a D10 hit die
instead of a 12.
But not a 12.
Right. And then you don't have like reckless attacks, you're not getting advantage on your attacks.
Nope. Brutal criticals.
Yeah, there's some cost to be paid here, but you are getting access to spell slots, which barbarians don't normally get access to outside of some unofficial stuff, really.
So there are 2 words that come to mind specifically with this Ranger subclass. Hunter's Mark.
Yes, absolutely.
Those are the 2 words. I don't give a fart what other spells you take. Yeah. You have to take Hunter's Mark.
You could literally just burn all your spell slots on Hunter's Mark.
And it would not be a terrible idea.
Right, because now you get to take Hunter's Mark, you mark something, it is concentration. If you're going to be building a melee-focused ranger with strength, you're probably going to go con as well. So you go strength, con, ranger, and then the spells you take, don't take anything that's going to require a save or a spell attack. Yeah. So you don't have to worry about your wisdom, essentially.
Maybe you would grab, like I said, a cure wound so you could get somebody up if they're unconscious, and then any other buff spell.
Yeah, or maybe, you could maybe take some random, rangers don't have the best spell list. They have probably one of the worst spell lists because they kind of get the worst of everything. Outside of Hunter's Mark is a great spell.
Yes.
So that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
You could literally just use your spell slots for Hunter's Mark just to give you, if you drop your concentration, whatever.
Fire it, sucker, again.
Do it again. Whatever. You have spell slots. Your options aren't going to be anything crazy.
You want to get up there and eat it.
So that's actually going to help you reach your damage pool faster because now you're dealing that extra damage from Hunter's Mark on top of your attacks, and you're attacking 3 times.
Yes.
So essentially, once you hit your 100 damage mark, you could be doing 3d6 plus your modifier plus your aspect damage every turn. Yep. So you're dealing, on average, it'd be 14 plus, it would be 5 plus 3, 8. So 14 plus 8, 22 damage.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's not bad.
It's not bad.
So it's definitely decent, but there is a cost to be had to not just being a barbarian. And that's why I kind of say it's like you're a barbarian and your subclass is ranger. Because you're taking the spell slots from ranger. That's really all you're getting.
Right, you're ranger. You took a class in how to be a barbarian.
Right.
That's what it is.
But there is some internal synergy with the bestial aspect, with the extra attacks and bonuses
and
movement and stuff. And Hunter's Mark definitely
freaking
is
Hunter's
a big thing.
Mark.
Getting some utility, you get absorb elements for a defensive as well, which can be good.
Yes.
And Hunter's Mark for damage. So you get some defensive capabilities, you get some offensive capabilities. You get a little bit of utility with healing, like Alex was saying. Or if you wanted to have a little bit of points in wisdom or whatever, you could take some crowd control kind of stuff. And it might not be the most effective in the world, but
give you some options if you really wanted it.
Exactly.
They're there. And again, you're a ranger, so you got some like druidy spells, like some difficult terrain and things like that. Yeah. Somebody's trying to run away from you, spike growth. And run right over.
So synergy-wise, we gave it a 3.5. So it's got some interesting uses with the spells and stuff that you can do to synergize with, and then it's just a really interesting concept, the way the main feature of the ability kind of builds in on itself. Yeah. And you're going to be, it's kind of like a passive thing as well, because you're going to be dealing damage and taking damage in combat anyways. So it's a really interesting concept. I feel like maybe some of the numbers are maybe a little off. Maybe you should get more uses of your, maybe it'd be better to do the bonus action thing to get your 46 like equal to proficiency uses instead of short rest, in case you really want to try to just take a couple turns and just pump up your damage really quickly. But I don't know. It's a really interesting concept.
Yes, I like what they tried to do.
Executed the best.
I like what they tried to do with an interesting pool mechanic like that, and it's helps it stand out and be unique and not just another choice, whatever.
Right. Exactly.
Because it does create some also interesting maybe multi-class options.
Yes,
is the other thing.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
I mean, yes, you could totally multi-class into Barbarian with this, and just be raged out because you could stack the damage from this with Barbarian rage damage.
Yes,
And you got a bunch of flat damage. So there's some interesting things to be done with
or
it.
Or you just going fighter,
or you can go with fighter and action surge, and just you can do all of the attacks.
Yeah. So yeah, it's definitely interesting for sure. But yeah, that's it for this one, guys. Let us know your thoughts down below. Thanks again to our sponsors, Hit Point Press. Make sure you check them out.
That's right.
If you enjoyed the video, remember to like, subscribe, hit the bell notifications. You know when our new videos are coming out. And as always, thanks for watching.